Prime Minister sending across that message of gratitude, saying India is eternally grateful to our armed forces for everything they do for our nation. And we truly are. There's been so much talk of what our forces have been up against in the last few days, the unprecedented strikes that they've conducted against Pakistan, ensuring that every time Pakistan takes one step at attempting to hit us, we hit them back 10 times harder to prove to them that they cannot afford to target our defense establishments. They cannot afford to target our civilians. And all of that made possible because of the heroes that you see there in uniform with the Prime Minister. And this is just one of the many air bases that's been hit, bombarded essentially the last few days by Pakistan. On 2 nights non-stop, Pakistan attempted to hit this air base, attempted to hit the Adampur Air Base, attempted to hit 26 locations in all. And all of that, the fact that we managed to thwart all of it, was made possible by the men and women that you see in those pictures with the Prime Minister. So a thank you note going across from Prime Minister Modi on behalf of the entire nation to our forces. Okay, Shivani is with us for more details. Shivani, my apologies earlier for cutting you off. You were giving us details about the Adampur Air Base and how our forces so bravely ensured no damage to property, no damage to these air bases, or for that matter, to civilian settlements.
Akshita, we were talking about the importance of Adampur Air Base. This happens to be a frontline air base which can be activated within seconds when the Operation Sindoor was going on. The initial operations on the terror attacks, as well as the later operations that came in as a response to Pakistan's misadventure, were all operated from the assets in this air base too, including the other air bases of the Western Front. And MiG-29 that have been the frontline fighters of our Indian Air Force have been there in this Adampur base, and also the S-400 air defense systems, the missiles, the Triumph missiles that India boasts of, and that they have been very impressive in the whole of Operation Sindoor. So this is the base that is strategically important even when we get back to history, 1965, 1971, and major exercises that we keep witnessing are being operationalized by these MiG-29s, the other assets that the Adampur Air Base in Jalandhar possesses. And when Prime Minister Narendra Modi was meeting these airmen, specifically today in the morning at around 7 when he left and met these airmen in Adampur Air Base, this was an interaction not only based on the recent Operation Sindoor, the preparedness, the high alert that the forces remain into, but certainly Prime Minister has been standing by the forces and telling them a very strong message there, Akshita, that we have full faith in our forces. We respect our forces for all the security they've been providing to the nation. We have been given operational freedom to the forces for a very hard-hitting blow on terror. The zero tolerance against terror that comes through the capabilities of our military, and Adampur Air Base being one of the major strategic bases in Punjab that was being falsely claimed by Pakistan to have damaged.
That's right. And there's no better way to dismiss Pakistan propaganda than having the Prime Minister himself visiting this very air base that Pakistan claims to have damaged. This visit was early in the morning. It came as a complete surprise, Shivani. There was no information given ahead by the PMO that the Prime Minister would in fact be visiting this particular location, would be visiting the Adampur Air Base. But the news also that's coming in right now is that Prime Minister Modi met the fighter pilots, the technical support staff who carried out Operation Sindoor. And Prime Minister Modi, when he visited the Adampur Air Base, had actually expressed his desire to meet with the air warriors, which is what made this kind of a visit possible. The Prime Minister believed that there was a need for him to be there to meet with our forces, thank them for what they've done the last few days, and the very fighter pilots, the staff who were involved in Operation Sindoor. The Prime Minister has met with them too, the fighter pilots and the technical support staff. So it was an initiative essentially, Shivani, by the Prime Minister, who said that, look, I want to go out there, I want to meet with our forces, I want to meet the heroes who made Operation Sindoor possible.
Akshita, there is multiple messaging that's going on from Prime Minister Narendra Modi right from the address we heard last evening, where he said that Pakistan had to bow down to the aggressive operational attacks that Indian military carried out. And here when Prime Minister Narendra Modi is visiting he has already visited Adampur and he has interacted with the heroes of Operation Sindoor, specifically the pilots who have been conducting this operation, the airmen who have been on ground as a force for the air base, the infrastructure, the operations of the radar systems, and it's an integrated effort, Akshita. So everybody as a team has been contributing to Operation Sindoor, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi made sure that he meets all of these people from this team, and that's why we see in the pictures the number of airmen that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is surrounded with. So this is not just a gesture, but conveying gratitude, thankfulness on behalf of the nation, because we all are indebted to our forces for the security they've been providing us through Operation Sindoor, and the pride that they have been giving us to be an Indian. And in this particular message, this acknowledgement and a warning for Pakistan, and busting the false narrative that it has been building across since a few days, that it has inflicted certain damages to our air bases, is also a message that goes with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to this air base.
Very true. Multiple messages. Now, that's something we've been highlighting here on India Today since these pictures came in, that the Prime Minister chose to be there at the Adampur Air Base just days after Pakistan attempted to strike this very base. Tells you really that the Prime Minister wanted to be there. He wanted to meet with our air warriors, and that's something we also know at this point, that the Prime Minister met with the fighter pilots, the technical support staff who carried out Operation Sindoor. This unprecedented operation of going right into Pakistan, striking them where it hurts the most. And so while you've seen the successful carrying out of this operation, important to also highlight that every attempt by Pakistan to hit us, every attempt by Pakistan to escalate the conflict failed, courtesy all of the men and women you see on your screens there with the Prime Minister. And this is just at one of the bases. Remember, there are 26 locations you had Pakistan attempt to strike us. None of that managed to come through. These men and women kept not just our defense establishment safe, they also kept our civilians safe, because in every single one of these locations, Pakistan also attempted to send in missiles, armed drones and whatnot into civilian pockets. It was because of our forces that today we're seeing the success of Operation Sindoor, that today we're talking about Pakistan not having hit any of our strategic or civilian locations. And that's why the Prime Minister made it a point to be there early this morning at the Adampur Air Base, which at this point, Shivani, many would deem as a high security zone, as a high risk zone event. But that's clearly something that the Prime Minister also chose to, step aside, making it clear that he wanted to be with our forces at this time.
Akshita, see, each and every location which is there, the 26 cities across the western border that was being targeted by Pakistan, saw no damage. There were false claims that were being run by Pakistan. But here, this message by visiting this sensitive air base was important for Prime Minister to deliver, that there is no damage to the base. The base remains fully operational. And in fact, these people, these personnel, in fact, the airmen, the technical staff, the women officers of the Indian Air Force, and also the pilots, they have been working relentlessly as a team to thwart each and every attempt. So being this a sensitive area, but the assurance by Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit is that there's just no damage that Pakistan can bring to us. Pakistan, even if it thinks, will be given a very, very strong response, because still now India was very careful and concerned about not escalating the issue further and bringing these attacks in a very measured and a focused manner. But now, after what has happened after 10th of May, we've seen how multiple breaches of ceasefire have been done by Pakistan, even after the announcement was done of this understanding. So now India has given strong orders to all its commanders and all our soldiers that even if Pakistan dares to attempt this again, we'll be giving a very hard-hitting blow to Pakistan. So Prime Minister visiting such a strategic frontline air base is a very strong message and a warning that comes to Pakistan, and an acknowledgement and thankfulness and gratitude to the forces.
Just remind us again, Shivani, of what played out at this very airbase a few days ago when Pakistan attempted to strike this very location. Shivani, can you hear me?
Yes, Akshita, I can hear you. Yes, certainly.
Shivani,
we've been...
yeah.
We've been witnessing, Akshita, that since late night of 6th of May, early morning of 7th, to be precise, 1:04 a.m. was the time when Operation Sindoor started. It was just 24 minutes that gave a decisive damage to the terror outfits inside Pakistan. And then Pakistan got uncomfortable and it started targeting these 26 cities across the western border that included the important military infrastructure. Adampur Air Base was one of those air bases that was targeted, including the religious places in this area, the civil population in this area, Akshita. But all these attempts were thwarted with full force, and Adampur Air Base was also being used to conduct the Operation Sindoor very successfully with all its assets, be it the fighter jets, be it the air defense systems, be it the radars out there. So all that team was working hard together to give a very strong give a very strong warning and a lesson to Pakistan. And in that attack that came in after the terror outfits were hit, again, these air bases have been quite aggressive in the response. So Adampur Air Base and the other air bases that were being shown for in false and manufactured pictures, the tailored pictures that Pakistan has been putting out in those briefings by their military officers, is one of the bases that has been exemplary in its operation, the aggressive military operation that were being carried out not only in the night of 6th and 7th of May, but thereafter, later, when Pakistan tried to send those swarm drones in waves to the western sector, and otherwise also when it was attempting those Fatah 1 missiles on the important military structures across the western border. So all these attempts were thwarted. Adampur Air Base, which happens to be one of the important strategic frontline air bases that can mobilize its assets within no time to thwart any attempt of misadventure by Pakistan, has been visited by Prime Minister, and that holds a very strong message once again, a message that can be understood by Pakistan, that don't dare to misadventure once again. Otherwise, all these airmen, all this technical staff, these pilots, along with the other air bases, are ready to give you a very hard blow.
Okay, there's a reason the Prime Minister has chosen the Adampur Air Base for his first visit and meet with the forces since Operation Sindoor, and that's something Shumani's highlighted for you, but how this played a crucial role and a crucial base for Operation Sindoor as well. It's among the air bases that Pakistan attempted to attack. They claimed that some of their hypersonic missiles fired from JF-17 fighter jets had in fact hit and landed, damaged the Adampur Air Base. That's clearly something that's India's countered, but at the same time, these pictures itself tells you what's the reality of that claim made by Pakistan. This is an air base that's essentially been active also during the 1965 and the 1971 wars. It's been an operating base for MiG-29s for several years. It's provided support during the Kargil operations as well. So Adampur essentially is one of the oldest, largest, strategically most important air bases as well, because it's close to both Pakistan as well as to China. So while Adampur is home to 2 squadrons of the MiG-29 upgraded versions, it's also strategically located close to Pakistan. Pakistan is about 100 kilometers, China about 220 kilometers away, which is what makes this base so important. I'll just also read out for you once again the Prime Minister's message, which he's put out on social media about his visit, where he's essentially said earlier this morning, I'm reading out for you, he said earlier this morning, I went to the Air Force Station Adampur and met our brave air warriors and soldiers. It was a very special experience to be with those who epitomize courage, determination and fearlessness. India is eternally grateful to our armed forces for everything they do for our nation.